Hey everybody, I'm Sean. Welcome to another episode of Angling Spiders. Welcome back everybody. On today's episode, I am back down in the studio, also known as the dungeon, and I am going to be doing a review and unboxing of some products from Plussino. Before we get into actually unboxing anything or doing a review, I did just want to mention that everything you're going to see here today I paid for with my own money. I was not sent this stuff by Plussino. That being said, I do need to qualify that Plussino did reach out to me and mention that if I posted a video reviewing these products, they would consider reimbursing me for the amount that I paid. So there is the potential that Plussino will pay me for the items that I bought, but I'm under no obligation, and also I'm going to do an honest review. So what we're going to do today is we're going to unbox 3 new products that I purchased, and I'm going to review a product that I've now had for over a year. So let's start with the product review, something that you guys have seen me using for a while now on the channel. Okay, so the product that I've been using for a while, if you've been watching the channel, is this Plussino floating net. For those of you that have been watching us for a while, you would have noticed that in the first couple seasons we were struggling with the nets that we had. We started out, we didn't have nets at all. Then we went and picked up some cheap nylon nets that were 1, too small, and 2, were really prone to tangling because they were pure nylon. And when the pike get in there and they roll with the hook in their mouth, we were getting snagged up all the time. So I wanted something bigger, I wanted something more practical, and so last year I went online and I looked up nets. Now, one of the things that I wanted was versatility for a number of different things, and the other was hopefully something a little bit less prone to being tangled. And so I went with this Plussino net. Now, I'll tell you why I picked this one specifically, because it's got a number of features that I like. First and foremost, it's compact. As you can see, it folds up. The handle folds here. If you want to use it, you just extend the handle out. It locks in place. You're good to go. It's also an extendable handle, so if you unlock it, you can pull it out even further. And now you've got a much longer range. In addition to that, the net itself is rubberized, so it's still a nylon net, but it's rubber coated. And I'll talk about that in a minute here in terms of how that's gone for us. Also, it's got a relatively big basket. Now that's going to be covering my face, but it is relatively large and deep. In a couple of our videos, it didn't look like these were that big, but they are pretty big, and they will fit most of the fish that we catch here in them. The biggest feature and the reason why I actually picked this specific model of the Plussino net is because of this. This ridge that goes all the way around the outside here is foam. That allows this net to float. And so if you drop it in the water, you have a good chance of recovering this because it's not going to sink. Now, this is particularly important to our channel. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I went out onto Badger Lake last year. I lost my net, completely floated away, couldn't find it, and went back out onto the lake an hour and a half later, and I found this thing because it was floating on the surface and easy to see. So I can verify that from that perspective, this thing is fantastic. So far, it's been pretty rugged. We've had some pretty heavy fish in here, and it's been able to handle them. It does have a little bit of flex in it, so if you get a really heavy fish, you're going to have to probably support it with your hand or something, or you might snap it. But other than that, it's been great. There is only one drawback to this net that I would say is the issue, and that is related to the rubber coating. Your lure will still get tangled up in this thing if you have trebles. So we use treble hooks a lot, and pike are notorious for rolling when they get into the net, just like an alligator. We call it the death roll for the pike. And if they roll, they have a tendency to wrap themselves up in this thing. I'll show you some footage, which means that afterwards, I'm going to be sitting there trying to get my trebles unhooked from the net. And usually what it means is I take the hook off, get the fish off, and then I sit there and get the hook out at the end. It's still much better than the original nets that we had, but this thing still will cause some tangles. So if you're looking for complete tangle free, there are larger, um, completely rubberized nets out there that you can use that will minimize those tangles. But I would say it's only, in a typical trip, there might be 1 or 2 fish that cause us to have tangles, and we just have to be careful with that. So I have been completely impressed with this thing. The fact that it floats and is compact and extendable alone is worth it. It's lightweight. It's easy to reach behind yourself on the kayak and grab it and get it ready for the fish. So I actually love this thing. I would definitely recommend it, and I will be getting this again if we ever need a replacement. So if there's anything I could say to Plussino, consider making a basket or a net here that is has larger holes and is more rubberized. But until then, this is going to do the trick. All right, let's get into unboxing some other products that I picked up recently from Plussino. All right, the first thing I picked up, something I have always wanted and really looking forward to trying, are some fishing gloves. And Plussino does make fishing gloves. And so I picked up the blue version. It comes in multiple colors. I think there was green and gray and almost like a tie-dye rainbow type pattern. These are large, extra large, and I have pretty normal size hands, and they fit pretty much perfect. I would say they might be a little bit too big, but to be honest, they're pretty good. What I like about these is, of course, you've got your fingertips free, which is great when you need to do some things that require some dexterity. They're going to cover you. I don't have to put, sunscreen and everything else on my hands anymore because these are going to protect me from that. And also they've got grips on the palms. It's slightly rubberized so that when you're trying to grab onto your fishing rod or your net, you are going to have extra grip there. So I like them. They look pretty good. They feel really good. They're light enough that you could wear them in the summer. So they're not going to, if it's really hot outside, you're still going to be able to wear them. It's that type of fabric similar to what you'd have in a gator. And so yeah, I'm good with this. I think they're going to work out. And of course, I will give you guys a review, but going forward from this point on, you're probably going to see me wearing these pretty regularly in the kayak. I guess the other thing I should mention for those of you who are kayakers, paddle kayakers like we are, because we don't have pedal drives, these are also going to be good for your paddles, because if you're paddling a lot, sometimes you get not blisters, but just you get sore on the palms of your hands from the amount that you're paddling. Particularly if you're like us, we're trolling sometimes for 4 to 6 hours. These are also going to help with that as well. So yeah, really looking forward to giving these a try. And like all of these products, I will put a link to all of them down below if you're interested in checking them out for yourself. All right, the next 2 products that I got are specifically because both Kieran and I are planning on doing some hike-in fishing this year. That's something we haven't yet done on the channel, but given that we are close to the Rocky Mountains and there's some high elevation lakes that have trout in them, and my family likes to go hiking, we thought, why not combine the 2 and see if we can do some hike-in fishing this year. The challenge with that, of course, is you do not want a full fishing rod when you are hiking into a location, and so I decided it was time to pick up some collapsible rods. So that's what I have next. The first one is just a rod, the Plussino fishing rod, and I will show you what that looks like. I haven't really even gone into these yet. What they come with when you get them is you've got a carrying case. It's not the most expensive material, but it'll do the trick if you wanted to put it in there and protect the rod a little bit. So here's the rod. I haven't even taken any of the packaging off. What I do like about this right off the bat is that it's got this end protector on it. And it's a hard plastic end protector. It's got a little rubber sleeve on it here that you can attach it with. And so when you are carrying this thing in your backpack or wherever, you've got this protector on there that's going to protect the end of your rod. So that's a fantastic feature. I like that. It's going to help protect your rod tip. And then you've got your rod here. Now, I don't even know if this is going to show up on here because this is a long model that I got. But if you want to use it, you simply pull it out and extend it. And so there we go, fully extended, which I realize you're probably not going to be able to see the whole thing, but there we go. And the one that I picked up here, it's actually in metric, so it's called the Plussino Gold Hunter. This was 1.98 meters, so that's pretty close to 6 feet. And this one I think is a medium rod. So and that whole 6 foot length, when you put it all away, goes down to a basically 1 foot rod. And so that is fantastic that you've got a relatively long rod that is going to pack away very easily into a backpack. In this case, I only got the rod because we have reels, and so that's going to work well enough. I can use one of our existing reels to put on there. We'll put a spin casting reel on there, and then we can just take a small tackle box with us to go into the backpack. So that's the first one. All right, the last one I got from Plussino is, as I said, this full package, collapsible rod and reel combo and some tackle. Comes in this carrying case, which is nice. I'm not sure that I would shove this entire case in my backpack, but if I was just taking it in my vehicle, absolutely. Or maybe in a suitcase if I was traveling somewhere. I might throw everything, including all the lures and all the tackle that I wanted in this case. That would be perfect for travel purposes. And that's another one of the reasons that I got this full set, is now if I'm going to a longer trip where I'm going to be traveling by plane, I can chuck this in a suitcase with everything in there. There's still room in here for other tackle, and I'm ready to go. I've got a full fishing set, so maybe I need to get back to Hawaii. Anyways, let's open this thing up and show you guys what's in here. All right, everybody, so there it is opened up. We've got everything that comes in this kit. We've got our rod over here, we got the reel, we've got some line, and we've got a small tackle box. So I will show you all of those things. First and foremost, on this side, we've got the rod. This one is a little bit different than the one I just showed you. It's just a little bit shorter. So this one comes in at 1.8 meters, or just over 5.5 feet. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as the other rod. It's got the tip protector on it, and so I'm not going to pull that one out, but you get the idea. Folds down to basically a foot and fits in here rather nicely. And then on this side, you've got the things that I really want to show you, which is the tackle box, the line, and the reel. So let's get to those. All right, the first thing that you're going to see in here is that it comes with a spool of fishing line. This is pretty generic. It doesn't really say who the manufacturer is. It just says Plussino line. It is fluorine line, so it's fluoro. And it says on here that the test is 6 kilograms, which would be 15 pounds. I'm not sure, first of all, that I think this is 15-pound test line. I look at it and it looks a lot thinner than that. But that being said, it is possible. I would probably not use this in favor of some of the other line that we have that I know and trust. But, you know, if you were fishing for something like panfish or you know, perch, probably you could trust this. I just don't think I would trust this on anything bigger like walleye and pike here. But it's in there if you need it, or if you just needed some backup line, you got a spool of backup line. And it says it's 120 meters, which is basically similar to 110 yards. Okay, next up, what I want to show you is this small tackle box. It's pretty tiny, but it's a good size if you wanted to put it in a backpack and you have limited space, and so that's exactly what I will use it for. There are some things in here that I would use and some things that are probably not the best, but you could use them or you could modify them. So let me show you exactly what comes in this tackle box. All right, so there is a quick view of what comes in the tackle box, and I'll pull some things out to show you here. First and foremost, we've got a small crankbait, and this one's got a little bit of a rattle in it. I'm not sure how deep this would dive because the lip on the front of that isn't that big, but probably worth giving it a try in a creek or a stream, so that's there. Next up, we've got a lipless crank. This one definitely has a bunch of rattles in it, and it's pretty heavy, so I think it would sink relatively well. The only thing that I noticed about this lipless crank is that the trebles on here are really small. So for the types of fish that I'd be going after, I would want to replace those trebles with some bigger ones. Otherwise, I think this would probably work pretty good. Next up, there are 4 of these hooks, and these would work well for rigging your soft plastics. I don't see any issue with these. They're pretty standard looking. Then there are 2 jig heads, a chartreuse and an orange, both exactly the same size. I mean, you can't really mess up a jig head, so I think those would work just fine. Going along with that, next to that, there are 4 soft plastics in a twisty tail, and it's an orange with a red flake. Pretty standard stuff, although they are definitely not very soft. These are more rigid plastic, but definitely usable. And then next to that is a miscellaneous group of things. You've got, you know, in here you've got some snap swivels, so I think there's 4 of those. There's some bullet weights. There's 2 of those, and then these these other bullet style weights. There's 2 of each of those, and then lastly there's a number of these little beads, I guess, that can be used on your line. I have never used any little plastic beads like this before, but I would say there's about 10 of those. So that's everything that comes in the tackle box. It's a pretty miscellaneous grouping of things, but you know, most of it is functional, and so could be used. And the box itself is what's most handy in here in terms of having a small tackle box that you can chuck into a backpack if you want to hike in somewhere, which is what I'll use that for. All right, lastly, the reel. This is a HA 3000 reel. It's got a gear ratio of 5.2 to 1. Spin casting reel, obviously. I got the spin casting version. One thing that I did not pay attention to when I ordered this set is that this reel is not reversible. So it is what I would call left-handed only. And if you guys watch the channel, you will note that every one of our spin casting reels is right-handed. So that's how we fish. And so I'm going to have to get used to fishing with this one on the left side. I can figure it out. But that is something to be aware of, is whether or not it's reversible. And you can unscrew it, but it is not the same configuration on both sides, and so you cannot put it in to the right-hand side. So just be aware of that. It is not something I was used to, and I just made an assumption that it would be reversible, and I was wrong. Other than that, it seems to be pretty good. It's pretty smooth in terms of the handling. You've got this little button on the handle here that allows the handle to collapse down so that, again, it's compact when you put it away for storage. And I haven't obviously got any line on it yet to test out the drag or the casting capabilities. That's what's going to come up next. That's it. That is the system. I'm pretty happy with it considering how much I paid for it. You know, again, this was not the most expensive rod and reel combo out there, but for what it does in terms of being collapsible, it's gonna do exactly as intended, which is allow me to save some space, get these rods in a backpack, and be able to go in places to test them out. And that's exactly what we're going to use them for. So you can look forward to me reviewing all of these products for real out on the water, and that'll be over the course of the season. I'll be testing out the rods and the gloves, and obviously we'll continue to use the nets. All right, so here I am with all of my Plussino products. That's going to do it for today's unboxing and review. And I'm going to close today's episode out with one last thing. For all of you that joined the giveaway that I did a couple of episodes ago, I am going to draw the winner right now. So let me go get the names and the trusty dusty hat, and I will get you guys a winner of some loot. All right, I'm back. After credit giveaway. What? Yeah, you gotta watch the whole thing. Anyways, I got the trusty dusty hat. I got names in here. I'm gonna mix them up. Just a reminder for those of you that entered, this is for a custom Angling Spiders Len Thompson spoon and a stylized Len Thompson decal from Creative Spider Studios. All right, I'm going to pick the name right now. All right, the winner this time is the Northern Fisherman. The Northern Fisherman. So, if you get in touch with me at anglingspiders@gmail.com with your mailing information, I will get that stuff out to you as soon as you get in contact with us. You have 1 month to get back to me. If you do not get back to me within 1 month, I am going to give this stuff away to somebody else. So hopefully you see this and get back to me soon. All right. Thanks, everybody.